Thanks for staying with us. So join us on the show is the Director General, National Lottery Regulatory Commission Council, Mr. Lanre Gbajabiamila, to talk on issues about the Commission for Public Enlightenment and general awareness of the Lottery Board. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
So since the National Lottery Act of 2005, this industry has totally evolved. And we have seen many people come from different people have come to players within this industry. In your view, how is this, how is the industry presently and how is it regulated currently?
Okay, that's a very great question. I've had the experience of seeing the industry grow over the last, say, 10, 15 years when I got into this industry, starting from Lagos State. And at the present time, the industry has grown in the sense that it has evolved, especially with technology, with awareness, with a lot of players, a lot of stakeholders are now participating more than it was before. And initially, it started off with using paper coupons being used, right? Yeah, and that was changed, you know, to whereby everybody has to go online for accountability and transparency, and obviously revenue assurance. So the industry is still growing. We've done well, being that we've only been in existence for the last 10, fully regulating to 10 years, but there's still always room for improvement. The lapses, we need to redo the National Lottery Act, for example. It's a 2005 one. So we're working on having it a new bill that will capture the reality of the day, whereby that way, obviously, it will have a better framework, legal structure, legal framework, and also increase revenue for the country, and also take into consideration the stakeholders, especially the operators, right, so that they have a decent current bill, a lottery act that falls into their own operational model.
Yeah. So talking about making more money for our economy, some people have described the lottery business as the cash cow, but that it hasn't, you know, we haven't sort of applied it hasn't been, its potential hasn't really been, you know,
tapped into.
Been tapped into. Why would you say that is? One, that's apart from what we would say mostly Nigerian sensibilities, where they see lottery still as something that is not right. Could that be a reason, and what other reasons could there be?
Yes, the lottery business, you know, has its challenges. Most importantly, the transparency, you know, has to be there to showcase good faith, because, you know, we have players staking, you know, putting in their money, you know, so they want to make sure that the return is there. And yes, it can be a cash cow. It can be a revenue tool for government, especially with the oil sector not doing too well, and with other sectors. The way we're looking at this is to bring in more technology and create more awareness for the public to know that there are good reasons why lottery needs to be accepted. You know, even though people look at it as gambling, but I look at it as gaming, because it's a win-win situation whereby, you know, if you play, if you stake, and if you don't win, you know, at least you're still contributing to something that we call good causes, which is then used for different sectors of the economy, health, education. So you're contributing, whether you win or lose. Yeah. So
okay, let me give a few more questions.
Yeah. So the question about contribution. Initially, I wanted to ask about contribution from the perspective of how much as the gaming industry, because I know you were in Lagos and we saw what what you did with Lagos and how the contribution has grown, and how well the contribution that the Lotteries Commission is bringing into the, what's the joint account? What do they call that?
Yes.
TSA, yes.
Yeah.
What has it brought in? What are the progress you've made? But then you just said now that it is also a gaming of bringing contribution to the sector generally.
Right.
So I know in Lagos last year I worked with the Lotteries Board and they did this quiz competition for children, and a lot of children, one, it was really educational, and then two, the children got huge prize at the end of the day, which was funded by the Lotteries Board. So answer the answer the question in terms of the contribution to the TSA and the contribution to the society.
Right. Okay. With the National Lottery Regulatory Commission, we don't contribute directly to the TSA. What we do is we contribute directly. The funds from lottery goes to our sister agency, the National Lottery Trust Fund. Oh. Right. So they are like the bank for all lottery funds, proceeds. And what their mandate is to now use those funds for good causes, which comes to education sector, the health sector, and anywhere Mr. President, according to the Act, says we should spend it on a disaster recovery. Even during COVID, the funds went into a lot of COVID assistance, you know, in terms of testing kits and all that, you know, during that time. Yes, so that's the difference with the national. Yeah, and I'm very familiar with the Lagos one. While I was there, I remember we used the funds from the Lagos lotteries, but we used that to secure for security in Lagos. Oh. Right, whereby I think it was during Governor Fashola there that we did purchase a lot of security equipment for the Lagos State. Yes, buses and all that, yeah.
Let's talk about your strategy. Because there's a lot of issues with perception out there. Many family members don't want their kids getting involved in gaming because to them it's gambling. They feel like it's not safe. So what kind of technology are you applying? And what strategy are you using to ensure that it's safe? People also have issues with addiction. You know, it gets really addictive. So tell us a bit about the technology you're using to make sure it's safe for people's identity, what they're doing, and ensure that people don't get addicted as they would, and family members don't want their...
Right. Those are two things that the Commission have looked into over the years. We've, what you're referring to is the two things that you're referring to: underage gaming, you know, and also responsible gaming, where we don't, because we don't want a nation of gamblers. Yeah. So what we've done is to, in technology-wise, and most of our operators, they're able to see the pattern of bets, you know, on their platform. You know, if it's a particular player that keeps betting, you know, over a threshold, you know, and is doing it like every time, every day, that he raises a flag, a compulsory, he raises a flag, and then they are now supposed to regulate, so to speak, that particular staker to make sure that, okay, why are you doing this and that? And then for the underage, for the addiction, for the parents out there that are worried about their children being addicted to gaming, we have a zero tolerance to that. We don't allow betting shops to be near the schools. We don't allow betting advertisement to be near the schools. And then we always tell it from our terms and conditions for our licensees that you should have the underage on your sign, on your pay slip, on your betting slips, so that it shows that, you know, and then at your betting shops, we'd also do, you know, on random, you know, monitoring, because we have a monitoring and enforcement department at my office, so they go randomly to check on all these operators to make sure that we don't have students or underage participating in that.
Yeah, so that brings me to a question. So NLRC is national, sometimes can be very far from state regulators. I know you've just explained to us ideally what is meant to happen, but in the course of your job, would you say that there are challenges between the policies and the regulators, state regulators?
Yes, definitely. There are challenges, you know, like any other job, you know, but you just have to manage the situation and try and get the stakeholders, the regulators, to understand, you know, each other's roles. You know, when I moved from Lagos to the federal level, I was able to gather the state regulators for us to meet and have an understanding as to how, you know, we have to work together, because, you know, The federal cannot do it alone, and neither can the state. In essence, you know, the industry has grown, like I said earlier, with technology and modalities whereby the games are not restricted to any state anymore. Okay. You know, because we have the mobile phones, the website, so everybody's online. So how do you now determine that this is a state regulatory arrangement? It is difficult. You cannot say that. And the mandate and the onus belongs to the federal, because we also have identified that as a commission, we cannot even do this on our own. So we have to collaborate, you know, have MOUs with our other sister agencies. Say, for instance, the NCC, the Nigerian Communication Commission for the mobile phones. We have the NICTA, the Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency, that can help us to block all the protocols on online, you know. And then we also have FRS. We also use a collaboration with
Someone
NFIU.
is even suggesting NIN as a way of registration.
Yes. We have a lot of collaborations and MOUs with a lot of these agencies.
Yeah. It sounds interesting, because I know.
So it's a win-win situation. That's what I'm saying. You know, the state cannot do it alone. We also win it. So we need to collaborate together and have an agreement. Because
the conversation of you bet in Lagos and then you travel to Ibadan and then you do another there and then you come back to Lagos, the lines are blurred. But I wanted to ask about, a lot of Nigerians are complaining welfare at work, staff generally feeling the brunt of the inflation and all of that. How would you say you've managed in terms of welfare for your team?
I think I've done fairly well. I could have done more than I've done, if not for the hiccups that I had, you know, settling down and understanding the federal level of service. But I can genuinely say that I've assisted, because welfare to me is very important, you know, in terms of capacity building, in terms of training, and in terms of, obviously, the bottom line is to let them have something more to take back home, no matter what about the training. So what I did when I resumed office at the Lottery Commission is to create increase the directorate cadre, whereby now we have more directors, we have more, there's room for progress within the system. And I've also made sure that since I resumed that we did our promotion exams every year. So because with promotion exams, once you pass, obviously you move to the next level. And once you move to the next level, obviously your salary will increase. So I've done that, and we'll continue to do that. I also bought buses for the staff, so that way they can go, they can move around rather than using their own transport. So we got that.
We have to wrap up, but there's a question that's in my head I think I should ask, because I did some research on lottery many years ago.
Right.
And there are many countries in the world at the time, they got a lot of development through revenue from lottery.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you look at the lottery industry in Nigeria thinking the players are wealthy. They're like, they're stupendously rich. And I'm thinking, are these guys being taxed at all?
Yeah.
And do they collect money from these people? Because the kind of money they dole out, you're thinking to myself, we need this money in the economy. So do you think your 20%, or if that's a figure, is sufficient? Or should we be seeing what do we do to get more money from these players? Yeah,
great question. The 20% can be okay. Is okay. But what we need to do as government and as a regulator is to improve on the system and to catch up with what is going on now. And what we're doing now is to have a central monitoring system whereby all the operators will connect to the platform and we'll be able to see real-time online, their transactions, which we don't have that 100% now. We're depending on what they declare on their books. But with the CMS, the Central Monitoring System, we'll be able to see and also capture even remote players, remote operators from the UK, like the Labrokes, the William Hills, because our local players here go to their website and also participate and take bets. And yes, they pay their winnings, but they don't pay any taxes, gaming tax to government.
Money they made in our country.
Right. So once we have that central monitoring system, the whole players in the nation will be able to see and have actual data of what they have.
Good to know. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure
Thank
having
you so
on the
much.
show.
It's a pleasure being here.
That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.